Yes, guys, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to this afternoon's live stream. And we have got a packed show as always. There's plenty to get through. Looking back at Chelsea's 2-1 victory against Club America in Vegas. Obviously, the imminent departure of Armando Broja to West Ham, where that leaves us in terms of attacking options. The loanees that have returned themselves, what future have they got? Plus, we've also appointed a new president of business in off-the-field activity. So we'll have a little delve into that as well. But George, glad to have you on board as always, mate. It's a hot one in the UK today. I know we always got something to moan about, but we've not got the infrastructure for this sort of weather. But mate, let's get straight into it. Broja's the big news, but just take us back to UK time, early hours of yesterday morning. Chelsea got their pre-season campaign underway. A 2-1 win against Mexican side Club America in Vegas. A great goal from Mason Mount to win it. Timo Werner also scoring, and obviously a comical own goal from Reece James after a classic mix-up with, I think, Bettinelli. But, I mean, George, other than the winning goal, which was great, what were your thoughts? You know, pre-season's obviously just about getting minutes under the belt, getting yourself sharp. What were your thoughts on the game?
So, firstly, it was, great to see the boys back out. I mean, quite honestly, I didn't watch it live. Probably those days are gone where I'm staying up till 3 o'clock. I mean, back in the day, I probably
not to watch Batshuayi and Ross Barkley kick a fucking football about.
Well, the thing is, I used to be mad. I used to have Chelsea. I know it's not on Chelsea TV anymore, but I used to have, I used to stay up. But that's probably when I was
like 3 a.m. for. I know we love the Chelsea, but 3 a.m. for a pre-season. Oh,
yeah,
I'm not about that life anymore. Yeah,
maybe the odd boxing match in Vegas, but not that. But I'm sure many people did watch it, and when I saw the lineup, obviously this was the morning after. I thought it was quite strong to start with. Good to see Gallagher being given a run out. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, mate, I don't read too much into it. I mean, if we had won, if we had drawn, if we had lost, it makes no end difference to me. It's obviously nice to get a winning start, or always is. I think people who say that pre-season doesn't matter, there's an element of that, but not. I think there is also an element that it is important, momentum. It is important to stay fit. It is important to possibly get that positivity. And, if you're getting bashed in pre-season by average sides, it doesn't bode well confidence if you're going into a Premier League's opposition with weeks to go. But a bit of a nothing game on it. It was just hot. I know they played in the evening time, but it's hot. It's first game, first minutes for a lot of these guys who are coming back. Nothing really to read into it in terms of tactics or changes. It was a completely different side going out there, but some magic moments which I'm sure you'll get onto, and it was good to see some of them out.
Yeah, no, for sure, mate. Again, it looks very much like they're going to stick with that 3 at the back system. Pretty much, 2 teams, 1 for each half. Mason Mount with a great goal. We won't spend too long going into that, but a fantastic finish. And he, again, looking like he's going to be really pivotal to us this season. Just touching on a couple of players who I thought really stood out, and it's 2 guys that have returned from loan spells. Conor Gallagher, I thought, in that first half, did really well in the midfield in that pivot. I have to say I've doubted whether he's like a pivot player. It's like, I know this is only one half of football in pre-season, but the early signs were very encouraging from him. And I thought Ethan Ampadu as well, another one. He's only 21 years of age. He's been out on 4, 5, 6 different loan spells. Very versatile. Can play wing back, can play centre back. We saw him in the middle of that back 3. I felt, he got on the ball well, some nice passes, stepping up into midfield. He looked very promising as well. Maybe there's a space for him in the squad this season, possibly. But him and Gallagher have both said that they want to stay and fight for their place and, show what they can do when given their opportunities. Just a word on those 2, George. How impressed were you by Gallagher and Ampadu? I know it's one half of pre-season football, but from what we saw, the signs were promising.
Yeah, we both spoke about it on the channel last week that we were looking forward to. We had a short list, and Conor Gallagher was certainly top of that list, and I'm sure, make no mistake, a lot of probably other Premier League clubs were looking at that game also. Has he got the minerals? I know you can't really gauge against the opposition we were playing, but he looked good out there. Confident on the ball. If he's making any sort of statement to stay at Chelsea and be in that first team, he certainly raised an eyebrow or 2 for Thomas Tuchel to think about if you're going on that base of that performance. Ampadu, a lot of people forget that Ampadu's, he's an established international, played a lot of games for Wales, certainly under Chris Coleman when he was in charge. I know that's quite a while ago, but he's been in and around Chelsea for a while, and I was impressed with him. He's more experienced than people give him credit for. But again, we've seen this before with so many pre-season games where players come out of the woodwork, new strikers score loads of goals, or great performances from players, and then they just end up either not featuring at all in the squad or boiling off, and that's so that's why I can't read too much into it. But you can only play what's in front of you, and you can only prove your your claim in front of you, and that's exactly what both those did.
Yeah, no, for sure, mate. And it's got the win. It's just about getting minutes in the tank, and then obviously as we go through the games, we'll get sharper, more fit, and we should hopefully see better performances. I mean, we've only got 4 pre-season games this pre-season, which is not that many really. Next game's on Wednesday night against Charlotte, and then we play Arsenal in Orlando before we go to Italy to take on Udinese. But only 4 games to sharpen up before our season opener at Goodison Park on the 6th of August. George, obviously moving forwards, mate. Big news today is that Armando Broja, who was in the States for pre-season, flown back, and he's organising a move to West Ham. For me, I can't understand Broja's thinking because, like many young players, you'll want assurances that there's kind of a pathway to the first team, like what the manager's plan is for you this season. I cannot understand Broja's mindset or his thinking in terms of the pathway so clear. He's the only actual recognised number 9 in the squad. Kai Havertz will be first choice. Werner's not really been used as a number 9 during his time at Chelsea. You're literally probably going to play a very decent amount of minutes. Why you wouldn't even want to try and prove yourself in pre-season, and you want to go to West Ham for, say, 35 million pounds when arguably you're probably going to be back up to Antonio anyway, and they're in the market for Gianluca Scamacca from Sassuolo, the Italian centre-forward, for 40 million euros as well. And if he comes in, Broja's probably going to be behind him as well. So I really have to question Broja's mentality. I fully understand that, it's his career and it's his choices, but the pathway at Chelsea is clear, and he's not in a position at 20 years of age after having one average loan spell at Southampton where he scored, 8 Premier League goals, 6 of which were in the first half of the season, and you're then demanding more minutes than you deserve or what can be offered at this point in time. I mean, what are your thoughts on Broja's impending departure? I mean, I really do question his mentality.
I'm a little bit disappointed because, touching back on that shortlist that we wanted to see in pre-season, he was one of those that I was really looking forward to seeing. Could he stake a claim? You've highlighted there perfectly that we're seriously lacking, forward options in terms of a, so-called, quote unquote number 9. And I was excited to see him, and I just wonder if this goes deeper. I know that Thomas Tuchel said that he wanted to see him in pre-season. Maybe it's got to the point where he's seen enough and does feel as if though he's not, he's surplus to requirements. He's just not good enough to take us to that level or even be a backup. And therefore, then what other option have you got? So I do wonder whether managers had a conversation and said, look, you're not in the plans. We'll try and find a suitable club for you. Because I honestly, like you said, if it's Broja making the decision solely with no input from Tuchel, then I agree with you. I think I have to question it because there's just no one. There's no number 9 at the moment at Chelsea Football Club other than possibly Havertz, which
he's not a proper number 9.
No,
he'll lead the line, of course, but like in terms of out and out lines, and as we say, we're going to have another 60 game season pretty much. There's now 5 subs in the league, so more chance of rotation. There's a lot of cup games. He'll get minutes in the Carabao Cup. You've got to take those to impress. He'll get minutes in the early rounds of the FA Cup. He'll get minutes in dead rubber Champions League group stage games. There's plenty of minutes to go about for Broja this season. So I really do question that. And obviously Fabrizio saying that West Ham are now close to signing Armando Broja. Talks progressing with Chelsea. West Ham insists a permanent deal after official offer submitted, but it's up to Chelsea. Broja has agreed personal terms with West Ham. All parties are getting closer. Of course, Chelsea are in a strong position here. Broja only signed a new 5-year contract, I think, before he went on loan to Southampton. So, Chelsea, we do hold all the cards in this particular situation. Let me just bring up another one. This one here that I'm just going to bring up as well, which actually ties into your point, George, that this is very much on Broja, this move. Ben Jacobs saying that Armando Broja spoke to Thomas Tuchel to get some clarity on his future. It was reiterated that Chelsea don't want to sell him, so a lot now depends on Broja himself. Broja is currently unsettled, and sources indicate that he will be relieved to resolve his future. The fact that for me, mate, I think, I don't want to sound too harsh, but I think good riddance. If you've got a clear pathway, we didn't sign Ronaldo. So there's a clear path, and if you're worried about your competition being Timo Werner for backup minutes, then I'm sorry, good riddance. He has to get himself sorted, Broja. If he wants to leave, fine. But the fact is that we wanted to keep him, and we want players with elite mentality, like Chalobah, like Gallagher, like Ampadu, guys that are prepared to go in the trenches, take their opportunities when they come, and they want to play for Chelsea. For me, it's clear that Broja does not want to play for Chelsea. He's not got the mentality for it, but he's going to go to West Ham, and he's going to be second or third choice there, which is exactly what he would have been at Chelsea. So, yeah, it really doesn't make sense to me. But George, that begs us the bigger issue, mate. What did Chelsea do now? Because it very much looks like that Broja's moving on to West Ham. As we've said, there's no out-and-out actual number 9 in the squad. There's no proper backup really to Kai Havertz. I mean, Timo Werner's still here. You can't really make a case, but just for argument's sake, I suppose that is an option. You've got Sterling that could fit in there, but ideally you don't want that. You want like an actual sort of number 9 profile really in the squad. I mean, what did Chelsea do now? Because there's very few, if any, options on the market to come in for, say, definitely for a first choice 9 or a backup choice. I mean, it leaves us in a tricky position in terms of balance within the squad in that forward line.
Yeah, I think our hands are tied a little bit here. I was thinking about it all day and, looking at the signings we've got so far and, can Chelsea bridge the gap? The answer to that question in short is yes. I believe we can. We can close the gap. Now, when you're saying about a title challenge, that's a separate question. And again, it's on the premise that all the players that we have in that forward line improve their numbers, which of course is possible. And I think
unlikely,
again,
on recent history, you'd say unlikely. One player might, but to have a collective improvement from all of them is, I'd say, virtually impossible.
And the problem we have is we have so many players in very like-minded positions, and on paper looks strong, but numbers-wise and stats, it's been very poor. And if we're going to close this gap, you're looking at the other teams around you with Liverpool still got a very strong front three. City obviously increasing with the Haaland deal, which again, no guarantee, but you would hope that would do. And then you see the players that we're trying to get in. Obviously, Tuchel made it very clear last week in an interview he had in pre-season that a forward's not the priority. We've seemed to address it now with Koulibaly, who's come in. We'll probably add one more. But then, Lewandowski going to Barcelona, pretty much done. What other options are there? I'm still a bit annoyed that we missed out on Jesus. I'm really annoyed at that one. I would have been happy with the Sterling Jesus. But yeah, other than that, I really can't think of anyone on the top of my head, mate, that would be good enough and is available. I really can't. Yeah,
this is the problem. I mean, it's all hindsight's all very well, but you're looking back at it and you think, I think we did push a little bit for Jesus. Obviously, not as much as perhaps reports may well have said, but he would have been perfect. Now that Broja's on his way out, it would have been ideal. But yeah, it does leave us in a little bit of a tricky situation in terms of, well, what do we do? Because we are lightweight in the centre forward position. There's no actual centre forward in the squad, not a single one. Okay, and you can argue, Man City don't have. Well, obviously they do now, but last season they didn't have a proper. Well, they did actually, but they did have a centre forward in Jesus, but he wouldn't call him an out and out 9. Plus, they didn't use him anyway very much. So, but yeah, I do worry for Chelsea. We're one Kai Havertz injury away from a big problem.
Yeah,
and Havertz is not available all the time anyway. He's not shown a lot of consistency. So it is a worry, and I can't really see what we do. Obviously, we'll get onto the defenders. That's the priority this window to get this week to get 1 or 2 more over the line. But then, from there, I think we desperately need to address the forward positions. Hakim Ziyech might be moving on to AC Milan with Broja going as well. I think we definitely need at least one more in there. But I don't really know where we go down. Serge Gnabry signed a new contract with Bayern Munich. Murmurings of Leroy Sané. I think that's going to cost an awful lot of money plus high wages. Rafa Leao at AC Milan, again, another one with potential links. He's out of contract at the end of 2024. He's going to cost an awful lot of money this summer to get him out of Milan. So there's options are few and far between, and it is a concern. It really is. Let me just get to a few bits in the chat. Dexter, big up. Thanks for tuning in, mate. First time listening on the stream. Afternoon all. Hope coming the heat. Yeah. Dexter, nice one, mate. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, mate, please do. We're on the road to 1K before the season starts. So this is your first time. If you're not subscribed, please click that subscribe button, mate. Let's bring a couple of other things up. Broja, it's disappointing, but he's pushing for the move. Don't begrudge him. No, don't begrudge him the move. If he wants to move, he wants to move. Just question the mentality, because I think he's just going to be in the same position at West Ham. He might get a few more minutes, but he's to Scamacca, and if Scamacca goes in, and I mean, arguably Antonio is probably their first choice anyway. So yeah, I mean, if Broja backs himself to be a starter, but like he's acting with the confidence of a player that's way better than he is, and his record doesn't suggest that. But if he can go and start, then at West Ham, then good luck to the guy. I'm still not convinced Broja is an out-and-out 9 striker. He likes to progress with the ball and moves more like a left inside forward than a striker. Maybe, I mean, I've got to be honest, I didn't watch an awful lot of him at Southampton. But George, just whilst we're kind of on loan and stuff, what do you make of the news that obviously Harvey Vale and Billy Gilmour have been sent away from the first team squad to the development squad to join up with them, and they won't be taking any part in the rest of the first team's pre-season tour? I'm a little bit surprised by that, in all honesty, just in terms of the fact, why are we giving minutes to Deadwood players like Batshuayi, Kennedy, Barkley, etc.? And you've got a young talent like Gilmour and Harvey Vale as well, where you think they could definitely get minutes in this pre-season, yet they've been, Vale's been sent to the development squad, who are also in the US. And I think Nizar saying that Gilmour has left Chelsea's first team squad during their trip to the States. Whether that's to the development squad or whether that's to sort out a move, murmurings of a loan move to Everton potentially. But are you surprised these guys aren't getting any minutes, considering we're giving minutes to Deadwood players that have got absolutely zero future at Chelsea whatsoever?
Yeah, and this is what annoys me most about modern day football is, everyone's kicking and screaming to get, players that are, youthful and players that we had from the academy and all sorts, and yet you're not even going to give them a chance in pre-season to see them. And I think this comes back to managers having a preconception before they come in. They've probably already judged who they like, who they don't like, and that is very difficult to change in a manager's mind. I think if you pick any player, for example, I don't like Neymar, so if I was PSG manager, I would have an issue with Neymar before I'd even met the guy, and it's hard to change that. And I'm just frustrated because certainly with I know Gilmour's got a lot of competition for places, but I don't know. I feel like this is again coming back to managers don't have enough time and will probably go with experience like a Batshuayi to get them ready in case we do need them, rather than improve a player that is realistically not going to be part of the plans or being given any opportunity in the squad. And as harsh as that sounds, they're going to take experience over promise all day long in that situation, because Tuchel has not got time to piss around and play Billy Gilmour in the midfield 3 instead of someone else. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, no, it's I get both sides of the argument. I understand why people get frustrated, but then at the same time, not every single player from the academy is going to make the first team. It just doesn't happen. There's not enough spaces in the squad. Some players just aren't good enough to make that step up to the first team. You can't integrate every single promising academy talent into the first team. Some will get opportunities and some won't. Some will want to fight for their places, others won't. It's just the way it goes. I think, we've been spoiled with the fact that Mount and Reece James have come through and become 2 of our most important players. And now I think that slightly warped people's perceptions, that they think the next sort of big thing from the academy is that they're going to be exactly the same and do exactly the same thing. And football just doesn't work like that. You very rarely get clubs that bring through 1 or 2 players from the academy into the first team every season. They don't, and become sort of pretty regular. It just doesn't happen. So yes, whilst you want to see youth players integrated, it doesn't always happen. And I think we need to sort of move away from that trail of thinking, and also realise that Chelsea's DNA over the last 20 years, even further, until Frank Lampard, we'd only bought through Loftus-Cheek, not Loftus-Cheek, sorry, we'd only bought through John Terry as a regular first team player from the academy. Now, obviously, we've got Reece James and Mount, and there seems to be a bit more of an emphasis on it. But Chelsea's DNA has always been to sign proven, established talent over giving academy graduates a chance. This is not something new. I'm not sure why fans are surprised by this. This is what Chelsea do. This is what we've always done. Whether the DNA is going to change under the new owners, we'll have to wait and see. But Chelsea have always done this, haven't they, mate? Are you surprised that people are surprised at what the club are doing? Because It's in Chelsea's DNA. This is what we do.
Well, we can't moan about it, can we? I mean, we've been we've been the most successful club of the last 15, 20 years in terms of trophies. And, again, it's that romanticism of everyone wants to win the league with, a so-called class of 92. Unfortunately, I think those days, because the stakes are so high now, have gone. I don't think you'll ever see that again. I mean, you might see it in other countries. You might see the odd team who create a lot of homegrown talent. Southampton were very good for it back in the day. But for me, I mean, do you substitute all that for winning? No. And the bottom line, like we always say on this channel, is that if they are good enough, they'll get through. My only case with Billy Gilmour was actually when he was given a chance, he smashed it. He bossed that game against Liverpool.
But would you?
I know it was a Carling Cup game, and he's played well for Scotland again.
Do you rely on Billy Gilmour to close the gap? Billy Gilmour starting most weeks in the Chelsea midfield, does that move the needle and get us closer? It just doesn't.
No, but then you don't have to go that far. He could still be part of the squad, play the odd cup game.
But is he going to get ahead? Is he going to get ahead of the likes of Gallagher and stuff like that? Is he going to be ahead of Loftus-Cheek? He's probably. I mean, as good as he might be, the reality is he's behind Jorginho, he's behind Kante, he's behind Kovacic, he's behind Loftus-Cheek, he's behind Conor Gallagher. He's about 6th place in the pecking order. And if we go with a pivot,
go on, mate. Yeah.
No, and if we go with a pivot, there's 2 places to go. And he's not going to be part of a rotation of 6. He's just not going to get the minutes he needs.
And we all sit here and say, oh yeah, Billy Gilmour, we should be giving these players opportunities. If any of us were manager and we sat there and we had a chance to put a team together, we wouldn't be risking our job and putting Billy Gilmour in front of a Jorginho, let's say. We wouldn't have the balls to do it.
No one's doing that. And that's the thing. People like to talk and stuff, but let's be honest, no one is going to do that. No, then.
So why should Thomas Tuchel?
Mate, it's a very fair point. But let's move forward then, mate. Centre backs. It's a big week this week. Chelsea are hoping for at least 1 centre back to come in this week. Hopefully 2. Maybe 1 in time for the game on Wednesday against Charlotte. Not to play, but just done in time for that game. Chelsea have obviously Nathan Ake deal off as we discussed last week. But Chelsea are now moving swiftly in the market. Chelsea have reactivated contacts for Jules Kounde last week as Ake is no longer available. Barcelona have to be fast now after discussing Kounde's contract for a long time. Chelsea are trying for both Kounde and Kimpembe. Colwell waiting to understand his future. George, it's a big week. We need more centre-backs in. It's been a good start. Koulibaly's in. Kounde and Kimpembe this week. We'll start with Jules Kounde. This is kind of almost coming full circle. It should have happened last summer. Kounde's been hanging about London at the start of the window. We're then not really interested. It's De Ligt, it's Koulibaly. Now we weren't prepared to meet the valuation for Ake. Kounde seems to be back in favour. Your thoughts on a deal for Kounde? And do you think we could have blown it with how we've kind of fucked him about, I suppose, a little bit?
Yeah, I think we could have blown it. And I think they've got the power play now because they're going to be asking for a substantial, whatever was the price agreed in principle last time, it's going to be a hell of a lot more this time because they know that we're a bit desperate for another centre half now, and no one wants to be second or third choice. But I still believe that still can be done. We're going to have to act quickly, as it says, but I still think deep down Kounde might want to be a Chelsea player, and he'll probably be delighted that we've come back around.
Yeah, I think Kounde will want to be a Chelsea player, and it's perfect. That right-sided centre back, it's a good profile. It's what we need. 23 years of age, versatile as well. Can play right back / right wing back, so it makes sense. A fee of around £55 million, I think, is what we're going for. It is quite expensive, but if you're asking me 55 million pounds on a 27-year-old Nathan Ake or a 23-year-old Jules Kounde, I'm going for a 23-year-old Jules Kounde all day. It's better value for money. You're going to get more years out of him. And I think it suits the profile much better. You'd have Chalobah and Kounde as the right-sided centre-back choices. Koulibaly can also play there. You could have Silva and Koulibaly as the central centre-back choices, and then you could have Levi Colwell and Kimpembe, if we get him, as left centre-back choices. I mean, you look at that as a 6 if it happens, and it is phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, hopefully we can beat Barcelona to his signature. I think we can. I think he does prefer a move to Chelsea. That's what the reports are saying. We want to, but again, until it's done and signed, you just never know. We could get the bid accepted. And then, it might be like Barca get a bid accepted as well. And we could be in a repeat situation of Rafinha. But I mean, Kounde, hopefully this week, and it really would be a massive plus to get him in, because we do need 2 more defenders, I feel. Because with Azpilicueta going as well, it looks like, then we're going to need one to come in to replace him as well. And he predominantly played in the back 3 last season, so he'd also need to be replaced. But I mean, Chelsea want to finalise deals with Jules Kounde and Presnel Kimpembe. They are optimistic of signing Kimpembe despite his reluctance to leave PSG, who would want 42 million. After talks with N'Golo Kante and Thiago Silva. So Kante, obviously a French teammate, Silva, a former PSG teammate of Kimpembe's. George, do you think we need both?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. Whether we get both, unsure. I think it would be an absolute dream to get both in an ideal situation. Not that, I mean, people know my thoughts on Kimpembe on this channel anyway, but I think for the ideal situation of getting 2 centre-halves, I mean, he's got bags of experience. Hopefully, we've got extra leverage with, Kante and Silva, obviously sending frequent messages saying, look, Chelsea's great. I mean, that's essentially what Koulibaly said was one of the reasons as well.
Yeah, Jorginho and Mendy.
So it does have a power, does have a place, definitely. You can entice them with player input. So again, I mean, these are the obvious choices, and these are the ones that it's clear that Thomas Tuchel wants to get over the line. This is the priority, so let's get it done. Yeah,
I think it is as simple as that. I think, it would be an absolute dream to get them both. I hope we can get them both. I mean, the Kimpembe thing is very much down to player choice, really. If we agree a fee, I mean, he's more than happy in Paris. I think Christophe Galtier, the new manager, he is part of the plans. So it would be, even if we agreed a fee, it's still very much down to whether the player wants to leave or not. So that can be difficult. It's, at the end of the day, all you can do is push as hard as possible. But if the player doesn't want to come, they don't want to come. So I would probably say that Kounde was more likely than Kimpembe currently. But if we can get both, it would be phenomenal. I do think we need another 2. I mean, George, if we added those 2, though, on the face of it, you'd be going into next season and we'd have Thiago Silva, Koulibaly, Kimpembe, Chalobah, maybe Colwell filling in as well, and maybe a Kounde as well. I mean, it's that defence, having lost Rudiger and Christensen, suddenly that defence actually, potentially, we get both these across the line, actually is better than last season's defence.
I think it is. I generally do think that is stronger if we manage to get both those over the line. I mean, that is a phenomenal options for backline, and you haven't even talked about the fullbacks that we've got. We've probably got the best right back, if not second to Trent at right back. We've got arguably 2 of the best left backs as well. I don't think there's many better than Alonso in the Premier League anyway at left back. In terms of an option for a second choice, Chilwell obviously outstanding. So we're in a really strong position, but we've always been quite strong at the back. So I'm not too concerned about that. But yes, we do need to get these deals over the line. I still feel if we don't manage to get either, I'm still concerned that we're a little bit light. And players like Malang Sarr will have to step up.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about him. Yeah,
but yeah, and that does worry me. But I'm still confident that we can get at least one of the 2.
Yeah, 100%. Given the fact how Bowley's operated in the market and how efficient and swift we seem to be at concluding and conducting business, I would expect at least one of these to be done. I think we'll push hard for both of them to be wrapped up this week. I think we do need to get a move on with the season ever faster approaching, and these guys not really having played much pre-season football. I don't know how many pre-season games Sevilla or PSG have had so far, if any. I know the European seasons tend to start a little bit later, but the sooner we can get those in, definitely the better. Let me just get to a few things in the chat. Jose, big up. Amazing channel. Not everyone is going to get in a team. Yeah, no, that is true. Let's have a look. We don't need both, but I certainly want both. 5 subs will play a big part, especially if we were to change formations mid-game. it could potentially give Colwell a chance. Yeah, no, true, it is. The 5 subs is massive now as well because it enables you to have a little bit more depth because you can make more changes. But George, let's move on to the forward line. We did briefly touch on it earlier. What do you see Chelsea doing this season? I know we haven't got. I know it's not the priority right now, but as we've touched on, I don't necessarily share the same opinion that some people might share that we could improve as we stayed with the same forwards we've got now, plus with the addition of Sterling. I haven't seen enough from these forwards and from Thomas Tuchel since he's been here. Because if we're being brutally honest, Tuchel, fantastic at improving defenders, but no attackers, bar Mount, have actually improved at all under his time at the club. I mean, how much of a concern is that for you, George? That nothing against him as a manager, he's great, but the fact of the matter is that no forwards have actually improved their game under him.
Well, if he's going to make that decision to go with that team as that forward line, then he's got to live and die by the sword. Because if they don't improve, and you're talking about, obviously Sterling's going to get a bit of time, but you're talking about, last chance saloon for a lot of those players if they decide to stay. Particularly looking at Werner, Pulisic, Ziyech if he stays. We need. You can forget about all the signings and all the progress we've made. We're not going to be able to close the gap if we can't win football matches. And you can't win football matches unless you score goals. And as much as we, praise Mount and praise James and all the rest of it, our conversion rate is probably the worst in the top 6, which is not ideal in any scenario. I'm annoyed that we've missed out on so many potential opportunities. The likes of Jesus, Richarlison, I thought would have been a really good one.
Yeah.
I would just not that I'm not optimistic. I still feel like some of those could improve, but I would feel a lot happier if we had just get any form of an out and out number 9 that's Premier League proven. I'd be happier. But again, Thomas Tuchel, brave to say, we could still pursue Ronaldo. He's not wanting to do it because it doesn't fit the mold. That's fair.
But now that Broja's going, do you think we could potentially revisit it? I mean, I know it seems dead and buried in the water, but if we're desperate for a centre forward to score goals, even on a 1-year deal until next summer, I mean, could we revisit that? I don't know. I'm not saying we will. This is hypothetical, but do you think that could be revisited maybe? Because there's very few other ones on the market. I mean, I've seen links potentially to Jonathan David at Lille, the Canadian centre forward. I think he's a very good player, but again, does that move the needle? Does that get us closer? It's so hard to tell, but when you're taking a bit of a gamble on players from other leagues, I mean, he could turn out to be very good. But I mean, ideally, mate, who would you like? Because it'd be very hard to get anyone half decent from the Premier League.
The conundrum Chelsea have is, I think, and I'm not using this as an excuse, but it's a factor. Is I think the whole Lukaku thing coming in. It did disrupt maybe some of those players progressing because we felt like we had to go with Lukaku. And we tried to play a way that didn't work. And now he's gone, maybe that pressure of not having an actual recognised centre forward and everyone can interchange in the front 3 almost gives those players a little bit more freedom to kind of do what they want in the game rather than thinking, right, Lukaku's on the pitch, we've got to serve him. Lukaku's not on the pitch, who's playing up front? What roles what. I think it finally opens the gate to just saying, look, there's a 3. No one's up front at any given time, just changing between the game. And it's a big if, but it might just allow those players who play in the front 3, whoever the selection is, to have a little bit more expression. And that's what I think Thomas Tuchel might do. It's a risky strategy.
Yeah.
But I just can't see anyone from abroad coming in who's any good and possible, and I can't see at the moment anyone who's Premier League proven who we can get for a good fee. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't think of anyone.
Mate, it is a really tricky one, which is, I know hindsight's great, as we said earlier, but it was why the Jesus thing would have been great. I think Richarlison for 50 mil, I would have liked Richarlison, but I think that is expensive. But you look at our front line, and yes, Sterling's a big plus, but you'd still have to say, and I hate to say it, I think Spurs have got a better front line than us. It's when Harry Kane, Son, Kulusevski, Richarlison, Lucas Moura, excuse me, I just feel that probably is a better front line than us. I know I don't want to put our front line down, but we haven't seen anything really from this front line to suggest that we are actually going to really improve.
I'm trying to think of names. Someone like maybe a Rashford. I'm trying to think outside the box. I know you don't like.
There's not many, mate. I mean, I'm in a group chat with a few Chelsea lads, and like some names, like some mentioning Ivan Toney. I mean, it's the thing is though, like, what do we do? Because do we do a target man option, or is it just someone that can play a few games here and there? Are we wanting someone to come in and really do a job, or are we wanting someone to come in and essentially kind of take Havertz's place, or are we wanting someone to come in as more of a squad player? It is really difficult. Let me just get to a few things in the chat quickly. Clutch, big up, bro. Like and sub. Yep, guys, over 50 of you in here. Make sure you smash the likes. There's definitely not 50 likes. Smash that like button, guys.
Everyone needs to like and subscribe.
And subscribe as well, guys. We're on the road to 1K before the start of the season. 50 of us in here. I'm pretty certain you're not all subscribed. So, guys, please do click that subscribe button. Really appreciate all of the support. What we got here. Spurs got a better front line than us. Yeah, but yes, they do. I mean, it's an unfortunate thing to say, but George, as you said, just going back to it, Tuchel's taken a big gamble, isn't he? If we decide not to add anyone else, or we do try and add someone, but the options aren't there, he's got to really back his coaching ability to get more of a tune out of these forwards. I mean, it's a big season for all of them. It's a massive season for Christian Pulisic. It's a big season for Kai Havertz now going into his third season. He's like that credit in the bank for that Champions League winning goal, mate. That's in the red. That's in the red. That is, he's got to be more consistent. He's got to step up. I mean, what are you thinking, mate? Do you think Tuchel's going to back himself, or do you think we could really be fucked if we don't add anyone else? Sterling will make a big difference, and Mount will play as well, providing we keep the three at the back. So you're looking at it, Sterling and Mount are going to be first choices. You've got one space left, really. And you'd imagine it'd probably be Havertz at the start of the season. So, I mean, how do you feel about a Havertz, Sterling, Mount front three?
I like it. And I mean, don't get me wrong.
This is
and this is going to be fascinating because I honestly don't think Thomas Tuchel knows yet. I think he's using pre-season as a bit of a time to, a tactical change up front, or looking at what we've got and thinking, look, can I give the faith in the players? And I don't want to call it too early, but I really do feel, those players need to step up for Thomas Tuchel's position for his sake, because if we have another season where they don't deliver numbers and we struggle to get results, particularly with that, if we repeat the poor home form we had last season.
Oh yeah, mate, that's so shit.
Like you said, even credit from the bankers, as good as Thomas Tuchel, we all love Thomas Tuchel, as good as he is as a manager, and as good as, he's won the Champions League, everything, we all know, I know we've got new ownership now, which could work in his favour, but we're bullish, mate. A poor start and people not firing on all cylinders, and and Thomas Tuchel not bringing in someone else. We've seen it before. So I'm not going to say he's going to be sacked, but no. I think if he's deciding, obviously the Lukaku situation had to be dealt with first, which didn't help with him. Recruiting someone else in, because I think we did miss out on Jesus for that reason. I think we couldn't really form a official interest because we wanted the Lukaku deal sorted. That dwindled on, but if he decides to go with the forward line and think, look, I'm gonna do it on a promise that they deliver, it's a risky business, but it's going to be. It is a
risky business. It is massive. Guys, over 60 of us in here now. Please keep smashing that subscribe button, smashing those likes. We're on the road to 1K. Let's get it done, people. Let's get it done. Smash the likes and keep getting involved in the chat and subscribe to the channel. Oh, yeah, guys, there will be that's a good point, mate. We're not just going on a whim. At 1K subs, there will be a giveaway. Myself and George will discuss it, and we'll get a 1K giveaway sorted. So please do keep subscribing. Damien Duff in the chat. Maybe he can... maybe Duffer fancies coming back for a season on the wing. Can't see Havertz as a 9, more of a second striker. We need a finish up top. Broja, if he wants to leave, can leave. We prefer a player who wants to play for the badge. Yeah, 100%. I want players that want to be at the club. For me, Broja doesn't want to be at the club. It's obvious. There's a clear pathway there. If you're scared of having competition from Timo Werner, good riddance, mate. I totally agree. Broja, on your bike, son. Go and be on the bench at West Ham instead. Yeah, agree. But Broja is stupid for wanting to leave. Tuchel wants to give him a chance. We don't want to sell him, But if he wants to go, there's no point keeping someone that doesn't want to be here, doesn't want to play for the badge. Broja is our only striker. It's ludicrous for him to force an exit. Yeah, I totally agree. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, George, why do you think Broja wants to leave?
Mate, it's $1 million. I honestly, I can't think of especially with the situation Chelsea are in, it's a perfect opportunity to say, this is my chance to, get in the history books. If he had a good start at Chelsea with no other striker there at the moment, it's a great chance to stake his claim and to get a starting place at one of the best sides in Europe. And yet, he's totally, I don't know. I honestly don't. It's got to be something to do with the management, because I can't imagine. I just can't imagine him wanting to go anywhere else if Tuchel said he wants to keep him. If it was me, it'd be head down, do my best in pre-season, and be like, right, I'm gonna try and make this number 9 shirt mine. But again, like you said, you buy, you got to buy the personality as well. And if he doesn't want to play, then go.
Yeah, I do think it's as simple as that. But I do worry. I mean, obviously, I've not got too long, so I've got to go back to work, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah. But mate. Who do you mean? What are your thoughts on a couple of the other forward players? Obviously, Ziyech is going to go. I mean, how big a season is it for Callum Hudson-Odoi this season? We've seen, obviously, plagued by injury, still 21 years of age. If we don't bring anyone else in, this is another real opportunity for him this season. Tuchel does really like him. He's bulked up a lot in the gym this summer. Looks like, more muscular, etc., ready to take this season by storm. If he gets it right, could he be potentially the answer down that left-hand side?
Potentially. And, to end on a positive note, as much as it's a hindrance for Chelsea not having a number 9, we still don't know what our best front three is, and what an opportunity it is with no recognised striker and no real plan going forward with the front line for all the players that had a poor season last season. What an opportunity to state your claims now and be like, look, I'm going to make that position mine. And we've got plenty of players in every position in that forward area who you couldn't hang your hat on and say that they're definitely going to start. So, look, take it. As much as a negative for maybe the fans, it's a positive for all those players who want to stake a claim. Hudson-Odoi is one of them. So, look, it can only be a positive for those players. And again, it is going to be fascinating to see how we line up and who's really going to take the shine next season.
Yeah, no, it really is. I mean, it's the $1 million question. It always is with Chelsea. Defensively, we're normally pretty solid. Midfield, we've got enough to get by with Declan Rice in towards the end of the window. It's a possibility. I still don't think it will happen this summer, but it's always, every season, it's always, is the forward line going to fire? Are we going to do it? Can we unlock low blocks? Have we got that creativity within our side to break teams down? Because we're going to be playing against low blocks pretty much every week. It's just the way it goes, and we need to be able to unlock it to break teams down. We haven't got that. I don't know, mate. This might be a bit left field. I know Eriksen's gone to obviously Man United, but I just feel like we haven't got anyone that can pick a pass in midfield to unlock a defence like a Fabregas could, like someone like Eriksen can. I mean, I know he's not really the right profile for Chelsea, but do you think Eriksen could have fitted at Chelsea on a free transfer? Do you think it would have been worth the gamble?
I totally get what you're saying. I agree. I think, we have, Kovacic shows moments where he can carry the ball and pull out a fantastic pass.
Doesn't get big numbers.
No, not enough.
No.
And then you've got players like Jorginho, who's just so safe and the other way. And, we don't have that creative 8-10 player who just, ping a pass 40 yards or through a back line. But then again, that disrupts what we go for. We are a defensive team. Eriksen, potentially, but then you're turning into Manchester United then with no identity, lack of what are we trying to be then? I like him as a player, but personally, I'd stay away from that one.
Yeah, probably would. Cranky Pals, what you're saying? Georgie has it, just doesn't do it enough. Yeah, I mean, Jorginho does have a pass in him. There was a great pass to Kai Havertz for that goal against Newcastle at the Bridge. He played a fantastic pass as well away in Lille for a goal as well. Jorginho's got it in his locker. We just don't see it often enough. I still think we've never replaced Cesc Fabregas. We just never have. We really haven't. What's this? Broja is good striker, and because he's young boy. But if you refuse to sign Broja, you are going to remember. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Chelsea want him to stay. This is on the player. The player wants out, so it's down to him. And if he wants out, then it's best for both parties to get rid of him. Guys, still 50 of us in here. I'm gonna have to round out now because I've got to go back to work. Would stay longer, but I'm Gonna have to round out here, guys. We're about 10 subs from 850, so there's still over 50 of you in here. So please do click that subscribe button on your way out. Get us to the 850 mark by the end of this stream. That's 10 more subs. So 10 of you lovely people, please click that subscribe button on the way out. George, just last rounding out thoughts, mate. Next preseason game on Wednesday. Just wanted to see more of the same, really. Just get more minutes in the tank. Players look a bit sharper and just kind of go from there, really.
Yeah, I mean, no expectations. Just everyone get fit, get more minutes. Obviously, we hope to see Sterling, hopefully, at that point. But yeah, guys, look, Charlie wouldn't have to go to work if we had enough subs, so make sure that you do subscribe, and then we can do this as a full-time job. So
we're not all part-timers like George, who clocks off at 3 o'clock. Yeah, some of us got to go on that grind in this heat, mate. I might set up a Just Giving page for me to get me through. Let me just quickly get to some last things in the chat. I won't be late. Nunez looking good central midfield player. Yeah, Nunez is a good central midfield player, but it's not the profile we're looking for. He's very much a box-to-box midfield player. We need that single six, that holding midfield player. So yes, Nunez is a good player. It's not the right profile of midfielder that we need. Junior, quit Uber signing now. Oh, mate, you'll have to watch it back. But I think Kimpembe and Kounde, if not both, will come this week, hopefully. A backup in the wing-back area. I'm not sure who that's going to be. And maybe a forward player if we can get that sorted. If Spurs let them sign Cristiano Ronaldo. And, Spurs won't sign Ronaldo, but yeah. Agreed, Gallagher is looking promising. I'm a massive fan of Conor Gallagher, so I really hope he does well this season. The formation that we play under Tuchel limits the potential of most of our attack-minded players. Changing formation. 100% agreed. Hakim Ziyech, a prime case and example, is that as soon as he went to a back three, he looked so much more efficient, so much better. Because for me, I think there's less defensive responsibilities when you play in a midfield three and a back four. Whereas the back three as well, you are limited attacking-wise in terms of you're relying on a lot of your attacking input to come from the wing-backs. Which if they're not firing, you do get very little. And we've seen us massively struggle. But yeah, guys, as I said, thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. Really enjoyed it as always. Thanks for getting involved in the chat. Please smash that subscribe button on your way out. Get us to 850 subs by the end of this stream. There's probably about 6 or 7 more to go. So please do that. I would stay longer, but I've got to go. Thanks for your support as always. Blues back in action on Wednesday against Charlotte for the second pre-season game. We'll be back in the next day or two with some more news, so stay tuned for that. But until then, guys, George, thanks a lot, mate. Hit that subscribe button on the way out, smash the likes, and we'll catch you again soon. Up the Chelsea, guys.